Let's start the day, as we do so often lately, talking about the latest when it comes to tariffs and the trade war. The next phase of tariffs on Chinese imports is set to go into effect on December 15. That's less than a month away. And now the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is warning that a phase one trade deal might not be reached in time for that deadline. You got that right. Now, Chinese President Xi Jinping is still reiterating that he really wants to strike a trade deal, but he also says that China will retaliate to new tariffs if necessary. And just minutes ago, President Trump told Fox News, we have a deal potentially very close, although we have heard that before. And Yahoo Finance's Rick Newman, a tariff man, is here to break it down. Just kidding, you're not a tariff man, Rick.
That's the
What do
president.
you think, what has changed since yesterday?
Nothing. I feel like a guest who's overstayed his welcome. I shouldn't be on this show. I mean, you should be talking about
Well,
something
it ain't
else.
your
It's the same-
fault.
It's the same story, but now we had more words from Trump. I guess
Yes.
that's anything. So we had more words from Trump and more words from President Xi of China. You know, President Xi did not come out and say, gather everyone around and say, I have something important to say about the trade negotiations with China.
Lend me your ears.
He was at a conference, a big conference in Asia, where the topic was other stuff, and somebody at some point said, oh, how are things going with the U.S.?
By
And
the
he
way.
said, oh, well, I would really like to make a deal with the United States. We favor open trade with the United States. And President Trump on Fox News this morning said what he always says, basically, which is, oh, we're very close to a trade deal. You know what? I've looked up some of Trump's statements on this. A year ago, Trump said, oh, we're almost there on a trade deal. So this has just become a constant of the last 12 months. And I think we're not. I think we're not close to a trade deal.
So, Rick, what's the likelihood, though, that the December 15th deadline approaches and the president comes out and says, you know what, because we are so close, I've decided
As a gift.
not exactly as a gift, I'm actually not going to put these tariffs in place. Because we've had that happen before.
And we say, thank you.
Right.
You want a number? I mean, like 50%. I mean, I'm probably just going to hedge and say probably 50%. I mean, it really is just up to Trump, and we know he's completely mercurial about this. Does he feel like he's getting respect from the Chinese side? Does he feel like they're negotiating in good faith? Or does he, in which case, yes, he might delay those tariffs indefinitely or put a 2020 date on them, or who knows. Or does he feel like the Chinese are trying to pull the rug out from under him, and he says, oh, I'm pissed off and I'm really going to sock it to those Chinese by putting more taxes on Americans?
Rick, I feel like I'm having a bit of deja vu here. Like you said, a year ago, Trump said the same thing, and then we entered the end of December with crazy volatility for the markets. Are we setting ourselves up for another situation like this if we don't get a deal on the table or any sort of phase one situation signed?
Well, I think I've been saying that I'm a broken record on this. Markets are too optimistic about a trade deal, but I don't think if we do get yet another round of tariffs on December 15th, I don't think it's going to trigger anything like what we saw last December, which was really not related to trade, because we had no tariffs in place as of last December. I'm sorry, we had a few, but we had no escalation that took place last December. That was mostly about the Fed hiking rates and probably going a little bit too far. So I think what we've learned, and it's been kind of a relieving surprise since then, is that the tariffs that we've seen put into place since then have not hurt the economy as much as some people thought they would. So we're seeing no increase in inflation, for example, on products that are now subject to the tariffs, which means that the higher cost is not being passed on to consumers. The bad news is that the higher cost is being eaten by the manufacturers, and that is showing up in manufacturing data. So we have a manufacturing recession. It's also showing up in flatlined business investments. So businesses are looking around and saying, I don't like where this is all going. It's too much uncertainty. I'm going to hold back on spending. And that is contributing to slow growth, but it's not doing much more damage than that. And the one thing that's okay is consumer spending is holding up. So that's good and bad, because
hasn't hit the wallet.
And we keep having new highs in the stock market. So the bad part about that is Trump, in his simplistic way, can look around and say, my tariffs are great
Stock's
because
up, everything's
stock
working.
market keeps going up. The more tariffs I put in place, the higher stock market goes.
Yep.
That's not going to last forever.
It's funny to me to see headlines saying, warning, we may not get a deal before December 15th. Of course we won't get a deal before December 15th.
I don't
No
think
way.
so.
There's
Should just
no
be,
way.
I don't
at
think
this
so.
point, I feel
Phase
like it should just be like, warning, we're not going to get a trade deal.
Period.
Period.
I mean, someday in life, but all right, Rick
I'll
Newman,
see you
thanks so
Monday.
much. Yes,
and Tuesday and Wednesday.
That's right. Tariff leaks.
We still will not have a
Discuss.
trade deal by next week.
Ooh, big
Headline,
I'm gonna hold you to that. We're
sticking my
gonna-
neck
Rick
out on that
Newman,
one.
we will not have a trade deal.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.